Well, welcome to Orient Live. Christmas is very nearly upon us and hopefully we'll have something to take home and put under the tree this afternoon. The O's are facing Bradford City here in E10 and I'm delighted to be joined here in the studio by Glenn Wilkie and Joe Widdowson. The games before Christmas, they've got that special feeling about them, don't they?
They do, yeah. They feel even better at the end of the game when you've got 3 points. Big tough game though today. Very tough game against a very good side who's sitting second in the league. But yeah, all the supporters, looking at the supporters coming in today, they're all hopeful, full of Christmas cheer. Let's hope we send them home that way as well.
Absolutely. Bradford have only lost 2 games this season. We look at our last couple of games, disappointment in Barnsley, late disappointment with the draw against Luton. Today would be a real big statement before going into that Boxing Day, the 29th game and New Year's Day when it's so thick and fast. This is the start of it really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. This is obviously kind of kicking off that festive period and I think it would be, to get a result today would be massive, especially after the last 2 results, given how Bradford have been going. Just walked past some of their fans outside on the way in and they were sounding really confident, talking about how they, if and buts, they could have been top of the league. But they've obviously, come up and just really continued where they left off last season and adapted to the level, really, really well. So they're in really good form, good shape, so it'll be a tough game today.
They are flying, aren't they? We'll come on to them in more detail later,
yeah.
but just to touch on it now, to get promoted last season and to seamlessly look like they'll be contenders this year.
Yeah, consistent. They've been very, very consistent. And what stands out for me, I know you said we'll come on to them, They've kept 3 clean sheets in the league on the spin. I'm just looking at their goalkeeper warming up. He's a giant of a man. He's huge. He's got to be 6'7", 6'8". And what I know about them is they work very, very hard for each other, and they run hard for each other. So signs of a good team. And if you do that, the basics, and then you've got a few flair players thrown in, you're going to do well. But saying that, I don't think there's been a team this season who I've been really, really overly impressed with. I think it's been very close in all games. Yes, we've got players out, players injured, key players at that. We can beat anyone, and we know what this league's about. So even though Bradford are one of the form teams in the league and very strong, I still think we can win this game.
You do get that feeling a lot. I don't know, it's that Orient feeling. Even when you do play a team who maybe haven't lost in a long time, you've still got that belief. They're the ones we normally turn up on in the recent seasons.
That's it, absolutely. I think recent kind of history would suggest that the bigger and better the team, the better we play. We kind of rise to that occasion, especially at home, don't we? So, like Glenn said, I think I would back us on our day against anyone in the league. When we're kind of at it and playing well. Obviously, we haven't seen that very consistently over the course of the season so far. But at home, I think we've shown some of our best football, played some of our best stuff against the better teams in the league. So I can see us, really kind of putting in a good display today, and hopefully, I think it should be a very good game.
Well, we'll come on to team news shortly, but first, let's hear the pre-match thoughts of the Gaffer, Richie Wellens.
Gaffer, Bradford City to come on Saturday, a club that have got real momentum behind them after their promotion last year. Just how tough a game will they give us tomorrow?
Well, they're in a fantastic position. They've had a brilliant 18 months. Obviously, it's a huge club. He's probably been sleeping in this league for far too long. I think when you get promoted with a club like that, it's quite easy. It's not easy, but the momentum that you can build with the crowd and the size of the club, I would imagine that they fill every home game, and every time they go away, that they fill their away end. So it's a club that deserves to be not in League Two. So they've had a fantastic start, full of energy. They run hard for the manager. I think they've only lost 2 games this year, is it? So it'll be a difficult game, just in terms of the numbers, and this team is not used to losing over a long period of time.
Took them a bit of time to get it right in League Two, as you say, and now they're flying at the moment. What sometimes is the key to having that click for a club, do you think?
I think what we're finding at the moment is dealing with frustration at times, because you have a certain right to be not in League Two. Having to sign players that can cope with the demands of playing at a stadium that has got 20,000 every week, having good people, having a good manager, good staff. So there's loads of different things that you need to put. It's just not just one certain thing. But I think that when you're a club of that size, the expectation level will sometimes have a burden on people. I think in the past they've probably not had players that are good enough to especially since Phil Parkinson was a manager. They've probably not had players that could fulfil them expectations. So they've got a group of players at the moment. When I watch them, I think they run hard. They've got a system that they're quite settled on, and they've got loads of fluidity and consistency in that. So it'll be a tough test.
Straight into the team news then, and let's see how the O's shape up this afternoon. Starting in goal for Leyton Orient, pardon me, is our number 1. It's Tommy Simpkin, who returns to the side. Across the back line, we have Teo Adaramola at left back, with Michael Craig in at right back. Dan Happy wears the armband today, and he's partnered in the centre back position with Jack Simpson. Jack Morehouse partners Tyreek Bakinson in the heart of midfield, and Charlie Wellens is in the 10 position with Theo Archibald on the right and Ollie O'Neill on the left. Don Ballard leads the line. And on the subs bench for the O's is Killian Cahill, Tom James, Dimitri Mitchell, Josh Karoma, Omar Beckles, Jalang Jassimi and Sean Clare. So, similar to the game at Barnsley last week, but a couple of changes, a bit of a statement from the Gaffer, do you think, Glenn?
Definitely. Well, how the game panned out last week, obviously he wasn't happy with certain things, so he's made changes. The big one for me is the goalkeeper. Sim Kim coming back in. Started the season well, I thought, and then his sort of form dropped and his confidence levels dropped, which affected him and affected the defence in front of him. He made a couple of errors, but I didn't think he did too much wrong. But for Cahill to be out, and Simkin back. Maybe that gives the team the lift, bit more confidence, gives the defenders a lift. Simpson in with Dan Happy at the back. Interesting. He's mixed it up. He's mixed it up today. The team look good. I think the only one I'm surprised at is Morehouse starting in front of Clare in the middle. I thought he would have gone the other way, but obviously Richie sees what they're doing training all week and he's got his game plan ready. But yeah, be interesting to see how they start the game. They have to start fast. They have to be aggressive from the first whistle.
A good assist for Morehouse in that Barnsley game. He looked tenacious and he looked up for it. And against a strong Bradford side, he'll need to do similar today.
Yeah, definitely. I just think the reason I said about Clare is just that experience. I think against good sides, sort of with game management, knowing when to slow the game down or fasten it up or where to put the ball in areas when it's tight. I think the only reason I would have gone with Clare is because of that. Morehouse, obviously, we know he's a good player, technically very, very good. And he's a good young player and he's fit and healthy. But that's the only reason I say I'll probably myself would have gone with Clare. But like I say, manager knows what he's doing, right?
Well, he does. He certainly does. We've got to talk about Theo Archibald. And I know a lot's been spoken about him, but it's a credit to the intensity that he's returned with and the levels he's returned with that he's played 85 minutes in a couple of games back to back, and now he's starting again. It's brilliant to see. Yeah,
it is, and obviously, like you said, massive credit to him and the way he's managed to get his body and his mind in a condition, to come straight back in and play so much football, in a relatively short space of time. Obviously, really excited to see him starting today. I think we have to be patient with him. Do you know what I mean? We can't expect him to be the same player that he was straight away. It's going to take time, and he's probably running a little bit on adrenaline and just that buzz of being back on a pitch at the moment and putting his boots on. So really, yeah, just it's just a nice story, isn't it, to see him back. We all know about the journey that he's been on. So the fact that he's out there today is I think a big bonus, and I think it will lift the crowd. To be honest, I think everyone wants to see him get on the ball and do well. Get crosses in and beat players like we know he can do. So we're excited to watch him.
Well, I was impressed with him when he came on against Luton early on. Was it early? He did come on, or did he start? I can't remember now. But
early on, didn't he?
How he plays, his mindset, his body language, his football intelligence, he's just very sharp in what he does, and he's quick and he wants to play forward, off the ball, positioning. You can see him always thinking, always looking. Not one of these players who's good ball watches and gets caught out like sort of when they're defending. Very, very good, and I think that gives other players a lift, and it sort of helps the younger players as well. Obviously, him back training with a squad. Yes, we know how great he is on the ball, but I just think him as a person and the way he is, I think that'll rub off on the younger players.
You'd hope so. And listen, goals haven't really been the issue this season. We know where the back of the net is, but today against a strong Bradford defence, our attack's going to need to be on point. And when you've got Theo in there and Ollie on the other wing, that's two proper wingers. Yeah.
I think Ollie's form's been good actually. Recent weeks. I think he's come in and done well and looked quite sharp and bright. And there was a spell earlier on in the season where I felt he could be a bit more direct and a bit more show a bit more intent. With trying to beat the full back and get across. I thought he was playing a little bit safe at times, but I think the last few weeks he's been a bit more back to himself. And then obviously with Theo, I think like Glenn said, you do get a lot from a player's body language, and you can just see from his mentality, like he's very intense, isn't he, with his approach to the game, whether that's trying to put a cross in or even close someone down. He really kind of gives it everything, which is infectious. So I think you'll see, hopefully we can get it wide to those boys today and get them kind of really on their game early on, give them plenty of confidence, feed them and let them go and do their stuff.
And then let's turn our attention defensively then, because whilst goals have been relatively easy to come by, we've been conceded a lot. We'll make no bones about it. If you concede too many, you're not going to win too many. We've got to try and cut that out, especially starting today.
Yeah, it's been shambolic at times at the back, and I don't say that's so easy because I don't like saying things about our players, but it's been individual errors more than anything. And as a coach, as a manager, you can't legislate for that, and when you're ahead in games or it's a tough game and you're doing okay and you make a silly mistake at the back, it's so demoralising, it's so draining sometimes. And you see the heads drop and then they get another team get another goal, and then on corners, the far post corners again, which we were sort of problematic at last season, where teams targeted us, Charlton at home bears to mind, Stockport, people like that. It's just they think, oh, that's Orient's sort of like soft side of them, is let's target them in that areas. We need to work hard, we need to be stronger in them areas, we need to cut out the individual mistakes. We've done it this season when we've had a few clean sheets, and with our forward line we go on and score goals and we win games. I don't like scoring 2 goals away from home or 3 goals away from home and not winning a game. It's terrible, you know, as a forward or a midfielder or as a team in general. If we cut out them silly mistakes at the back, and they are silly mistakes, if we cut them out, like Joe said about the forwards being too safe, I would rather our defenders be too safe. Sometimes don't play too much, be safe. Put it in rosette if you have to. Put the ball into areas in behind them. Sometimes there's a time to play, right? Other times there's a time to just get rid. You're there, you are a defender. Your first job is to defend. Don't take any risks, especially when you're going through a bit of a dodgy spell. Let's keep it tight. Let's go and win a game. Let's go and just be really compact and tight.
I think a lot of that just comes from as well, like being vocal as a defence, innit? And you know what I mean, like talking to one another, saying, look lads, you know, we've conceded a few bad goals lately from, you know, maybe trying to overplay or, you know, not kind of clearing our lines or being decisive enough. Let's keep it tight, do you know what I mean? If it needs to go, it goes. We don't need to take the chance. Let's focus on being solid, do you know what I mean? Trying to keep that clean sheet as a unit, as like a collective. I think the more people you got around you talking, like being vocal, just kind of keeping each other like focused and concentrated, the better it kind of helps, doesn't it, as a back four? Definitely,
and like you said, being a unit, right? So on the pitch, yes, we're all a team, but being your own little unit. So as a right back, your right winger or your right side centre half, you've got 2 little like things going on there. But yeah, that relationship there. So I find that a lot of people, and I'm not saying our team, I look at it in all football, defender-wise, are more worried about their opposite number, and they think as long as I'll stop him and do that, and they can get dragged into areas they don't want to go, but they think, oh, that's my man, I'm going to go with him, as long as he don't score, I'm okay. Rather than thinking, like Joey says, work as a unit, be compact, right, talking, communication is so key as being a defender. It's like pulling someone in, leave him out there, he's not a danger out there, sit here, because there's lots of stuff what happens, and if we do that, and I think players stop being selfish and saying it's not my problem, it wasn't my man. That sort of attitude, I'm not saying our players are doing that, but I see it a lot, and we stick together and you get that mentality of we're going to keep a clean sheet today. That is what we're out to get. If we keep a clean sheet, our team has got a great chance of winning this football match.
For sure. And one of the younger members of that back line, Teo Adaramola, he's been growing into the side. He was in and out for the first part of the season, but he probably had his best game in an Orient shirt last Saturday. Let's take a look at kind of some of his clips from recent games. It does feel like he's coming up to this level.
Yeah, I like Teo a lot. I think, you know, he's got all the raw kind of, you know, physical attributes that you need as a modern day fullback. Look at his recovery there, so quick, so dynamic, backs himself, which I love as well. You know, wants to try and, confident in his recovery pace, confident to try and, you know, use his speed to go forward and join the attack. Always willing to, you know, to burst forward and show his energy, which is great. But I also think it's a learning season for him. You know, it's his first year at this level. Obviously, he was on loan at Bradford, and I think maybe somewhere else as well in League 2 last season. And he's playing for a team who have, with a manager of a very specific demands of the fullback and what he wants his fullbacks to do in games. You know, whether that's coming inside, you know, picking up the ball centrally, or just being a body in there. So it's a learning for him. You know, he's picking up new things. He's being coached all the time, and I think he's adapting well. He's growing. He's made a couple of mistakes along the way, which are going to as a young fullback. But yeah, I like his attitude. I like his approach, and I think hopefully he can manage to stay in the team, because I think game by game he'll get better. He'll get more confident. He'll know what's expected of him, like his role in the team, like what Richie wants from him. But I'm seeing a lot of growth in him, and I think last season it was kind of the same with Jack Curry. You know, Jack's probably at a more advanced stage than at this time last season than what Teo is now. But I think, you know, Teo's got so much, like I said, like with his pace and his athleticism. You know, so many you know, raw attributes there to work with. So he's a really promising player, I think.
Well, we caught up with Teo at the training ground early this match, so let's hear him now.
It's nice to be playing, nice to get some minutes. Obviously, results haven't been going our way, which is the most important. But you know, I think throughout the course of the games, we've done well, we've played well. It's just little moments that are, you know, taking away our points. But you know, in due time, I feel like we'll clean that up, and you know, we'll start picking up points where we deserve to. But I enjoyed the game. It was a good game again. I think, you know, obviously we was unfortunate to go 1-0 down so early, and the reaction from the boys was top. We were giving them pressure, and then obviously we got what we deserved, being 2-1 up. But then again, you know, when we have a lead, we just need to remember to, you know, try and get the third, try and get the fourth, because when we've done that this season, we've blown teams away. But when we become a bit complacent, or like our mentality is not really there as it should be in the game, we allow teams to, you know, get the upper hand and, you know, invite pressure, which, you know, we need to change that thought process of doing. So obviously we've had spoken about the games and the last couple of games that we played, and you know, we're going to try and change that, just make sure that we're front-footed throughout the whole thing, because you know, the Gaffer talks about us being aggressive is the best trait of defence. So if we want to be in our positions half, if we want to have the ball, we need to be aggressive at all times. So you know, we just got to reinforce that throughout the 90 minutes. Just had Christmas meal, just had Christmas do. So you know, as a team, you know, we've been trying to build that connection, trying to build that, you know, togetherness, because obviously we've said it a lot, like the group is new, there's a lot of new players, there's a lot of new faces, and obviously it's always going to take time for, you know, you guys to understand each other, because at the moment, you know, we're all playing for each other, and it's not helping us in the long scheme of things, in terms of we're all trying to do other people's job and stuff, because you know, we care about each other that much. So it's just important that we build that trust, and then you can go into the pitch knowing that, yeah, your mate is going to do his job and I'm going to do mine, and then if we, you know, we carry on like that, you know, we'll blow teams away. My time at Bradford was great. Went there, you know, they reignited my career. I felt like, you know, they gave me that buzz and that bit of fire that made me enjoy football again. So I always be grateful for them for that. Obviously, it's another game that we're going to try and win. We want to get the 3 points, especially at the back of the last 2 games. How we don't know how we ain't picked 3 points in them. So, you know, it's going to be a good game. You know, they're good at what they do. They're very aggressive, and I know that, you know, the game will be exciting. So, you know, I just hope we see a full house, and you know, we enjoy the occasion. I learned a lot while I was there, in terms of like being in the dressing room with so many people that are like, you know, focused on the goal, focused on the aim, and that's getting promoted, and that's, you know, trying to win games, and you know, installed that winning mentality in me. I felt like when I left there, you know, I just wanted to win. I love the feeling of winning, one of the best feelings ever. So yeah, I think that's something that I'll definitely carry on, because you know, not everyone gets a promotion in their career. You know, to get one so early in my career like that is a blessing. Of course, we want the 3 points all the time. So if we can get the 3 points on the weekend, especially off the back of the last 2 games, you know, I'll be smiling.
You have a choice. You can waste 20, maybe 30% of your media budget, spend millions reaching bots, the wrong people, or no one at all. Or just use 0 to 1. It knows who's ready to buy. It's over 85% accurate. 0 wasted spend. The future of marketing isn't guessing. It's knowing.
Is lunch at work awesome? If so, tune out now. If not, keep listening. Picture this: chef-made meals from local restaurants brought right into your workplace. No sad sandwiches, no tired menus. By tapping into the local restaurant scene, Fuda powers workplace dining for companies across the U.S., giving teams flavor, convenience, and authenticity. Half of Glassdoor's best places to work have partnered with Fuda. Is your team ready to upgrade its workplace food scene? Find out how at Fuda.com. That's FOODA.com.
Right then, just under 10 minutes until kickoff, and don't forget, if you're watching along live on our YouTube stream, then fans, you can follow along from wherever you're watching. International fans, you can pick up a match pass for just £10 to watch all of the action with a pass for that one. And if you're in the UK, you can get an audio pass to listen along to the match commentary with Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock. But now let's turn our attention towards the visit inside and see how the Bantams shape up for this afternoon's fixture. Starting in goal for the Chickens, it is number 1, Sam Walker. Across the back three, it's Kieran Kelly, Aidan Baldwin and Joe Wright. Ibu Toure and Brad Halliday are in the wing-back positions, with Jensen Metcalf and the captain, Max Power, in midfield. Stephen Humphreys leads the Lions, with Anthony Sarcevic and Bobby Poynton playing just behind him. And on the bench for Graham Alexander's men is Joe Hilton, Tom McIntyre, Curtis Tilt, George Lapsley, Josh Newfield, Will Swan and Tommy Lee. Some recognisable names in there, some players in there that I remember in recent years doing well against us. You've got Humphreys and Sarcevic, 2 high-quality attackers.
Yeah, I think that's a team, they're full of really experienced Football League campaigners, isn't it? You know, a lot of guys that have played higher, played League One, even Championship. 2 wing-backs as well, a lot of experience there. Them two have played a lot of games between them. Obviously Sarcevic and Humphreys, you know, that quality at the top end of the pitch, and I think they're sprinkled with a couple of, you know, really promising young players as well. I think Bobby Poynton heard really good things about him. So yeah, they're a team that are very kind of balanced, I would say. A bit of everything, obviously really kind of well drilled. Know that that wing back shape, either with a, you know, probably when they need to be offensive, it's a 3-5-2, and then when they want to be a bit more compact and you know, conservative, it's a 5 at the back. But you know, yeah, you know, obviously doing really well. Similar, I think what they did really well, actually, kind of similar to what Wrexham did a couple of years ago. Last season they signed players with the intent on going up who would be, you know, prepared to go in and play at League One level. So they already, last year was almost like the, you know, kind of like the practice, getting them gelled together, do you know what I mean? And they've obviously just continued that momentum, and they're flying this season.
I mean, if you look at the average ages, 29.1 years is the average age for their starting 11, 24 years for ours. That screams of the experience they've got in there.
Oh yes, definitely. And it'd be interesting to see sort of how many appearances throughout the squad, what the average appearances are. They're like I said at the beginning of the show, very experienced, work their socks off for each other. They know their shape. They've got a clear objective of how they want to play football. Like Joe said, how they set up their formation. They know, I think, good teams who work hard for each other, they know how to play. The ball's in certain areas. They know there's 2 or 3 passes. They know the body shape. They know where they should be. And it's almost robotic, but very, very effective. Very effective, you know. And if someone's not in position with the experience, they'll start digging their own teammates out and say, why are you not there? You should be here. You should be making that run. And that's what good teams do. Good teams do that. And very, like I said, very strong at the back. Got a giant in goal who, I don't know too much about him, but if they're keeping clean sheets, it's either not getting to him or he's making great saves. They just look very defensively sound. I think with the loss of Aaron Connolly for us, we know he's going to be out, and he was in form before the injury. Yes, Ballard, O'Neill, we've got Wellings in there, and obviously Theo. We can cause them problems. But I don't know how many chances we're going to get because they are solid.
We'll see here now some of the goals they've scored. I know we heard Teo in his interview say we've got to be aggressive to defend. If we're being aggressive against this, it could be one open game. They look really intent going forward.
Yeah, they do. You know, really high energy, get bodies forward. You know, those wing backs are a massive weapon for them. But I think Glenn made a key point there actually about their experience. You know, with kind of players who have played a lot of games, used to being successful. They have that demand of each other, you know, in the right way. There's that expectation of, you know, like I'm relying and I'm expecting you to do your job. Do you know what I mean? And they dig each other and motivate each other in the right ways, which is, you know, a key part of a winning side and a successful side. And these boys have been together a good while now, and they're used to winning games, which I think has been showing so far this season.
I mean, our defence have to really be switch on.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like we said, if we cut out the individual errors, we concentrate, we work as a unit, we communicate, we shouldn't have too many problems. However, you know what we've been like this season, been very inconsistent. I wouldn't be surprised if we won 3-0 today. The way we've been playing and how up and down we are, but then saying that we could lose 3-0 today. It's just we don't know what's going to turn up.
What way are you thinking this one is going to go, Joey? It's such a hard one to call.
I can see a really high energy, competitive draw. Going to sit on the fence.
Interesting.
No, there'll be goals. I think there'll be goals. I'm going 2-2.
It's a big day out in London as well for Bradford, who are flying high the weekend before Christmas. They're all in the away and in their fancy dress. It'd be nice to spoil their pre-Christmas day out?
Oh, 100%, yeah. Let's just ruin all the Yorkshire people who are down there, just ruin their weekends, ruin their Christmas. Let's do it.
Well, hopefully we can have a good crack at doing just that. But now then, kick-off is very nearly upon us. So let's join our match commentary team of Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
In front of a decent crowd.
And the first time since the defeat at Cardiff way back in early October, it's Tommy Simpkin in goal.
Yeah, interesting one that. I think Llewellyn's perhaps just had a little bit of frustration in recent weeks with Killian Cahill. Only the goals that have been conceded, but possibly with distribution, and felt today might be the right time to switch things up, get Simpkin back in